Good morning, everybody. Let's see, we've got the sound working, it looks like. We got video working. It looks like we've got a crowd here this morning. Woohoo! Somebody's already looking forward to the end. Ha! And thank you for that eagle eye. I got a little bit of that fixed before the broadcast. Did have the heading wrong. We're all masters. Oh, were you being a little more subtle about your hint? Good morning, Janie. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, everybody. Mr. Tom here. Good morning, Tom. All right, guys. How's everybody today? It's good to see your smiling faces, or I guess your smiling emojis. Gets me pumped up and ready. So we're going to start the program with a finish this morning, and then we will finish the program with a start. And that'll make sense in just a minute. But if you're brand new, my name's Jason Meyer, and this is Morning Jumpstart Student Feedback. Good morning, Shakti. And the schedule for today, I want to make sure to get this out there. I will have studio time today at 1:30. And what I'm going to be doing is working on the 4-value compositional study for Monday, the class that starts Monday. Okay, so for our Monday class, we're going to have 2 images we can work from. Today I'm going to do a compositional study of the first one, and tomorrow I'll do a compositional study of the second one. I'm planning on making it about an hour and literally going from the blank page to try to developing an idea, getting it down, and I'll just see what I can do in an hour, but directly on the stuff you guys could be working with in class next month. Okay, and then tonight we'll be at Masterworks, and tomorrow we'll have all 3 programs again. All right, everybody ready to get going? Yeah, I don't know about you, but I enjoy doing the work much more than making the announcements. So make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you like what you see, and tell your friends. Okay, let's see what we can get into here. You guys ready to go? Can't imagine you're not. Add that, do a little do-si-do. There we go. So this is where Susan started yesterday, and she was unhappy, felt like the skin was plastic looking, and didn't like that it didn't feel like there was hair. So we talked about it yesterday and gave some strategies. That program is there if you want to go watch it. But I wanted to give you an update on what she did, because I got a note yesterday saying that she spent hours, I think it was 3 or 4 hours mixing, and that she did this little section, and I think it's a million times better. I mean, that is exactly what we talked about, right? Going from that all pink to where it's kind of a little spottier, right? Not as much of a glow. There's a little more rise and fall. I really like the texture of building the paint up towards the highlight. I think that's very effective. So a yes, a yes, a yes, a yes. I do want to point out a couple of small things here, and sometimes it can be difficult to see when you start, but as you get in the habit of working with these patterns, it'll become almost second nature. So the light is coming in here because we can tell the highlight, right? So if the light's here, then anything that turns up will be blanched. Anything that faces forward is going to be color. And then anything that heads into shadow or away will be air. Air, color, blanched, right? And then the highlight is on the corner, and then this is turning down, so going back into air, and then going across, so we have light, and then we have this form, and then we come out, and then, okay, here we go. So you remember that pattern, the light's coming in. So the highlight, you could, if you want, reverse it and have the blanch here, and then the color here, but that's not really appropriate. Do you see that? I'm being pretty strict on what happens as we walk around form. And again, I'm being very persnickety here, but it's those little things that will take this and take it from really working to not working. Now, there's a little bit of that you can do without getting too far off, but you just want to be careful and make sure you don't get outside of that pattern. Okay, but I love the cools that you've got in here. And now it's a matter of taste. If you want to keep them, and again, I forget the scale of this, but these are like little color notes, right? Little color spots, strokes of paint. And that works absolutely fine, especially when you have what you have in the light. Okay? And I think it's especially effective here, just the way you're working. But if you wanted to, if this is too chunky for your style, you can blend that in a little bit more. Just take some of those hard edges off of it. Now, Susan, I think yours is absolutely fine, and I'm just talking in general to people who might have a different style or go, ooh, that looks better, but, you know, I don't want to really paint with all that. But I get it. I get it. To me, the brush stroke is fun and part of it. Going down. And then what will happen is as this goes through air, right, and this is, okay, I see you have it here. That got a little bit lighter. You get a little highlight right there. I don't know if this dark shadow is necessary. I think I might just go from air to highlight and leave shadow for this side. Yeah, that little right there's a little confusing. So hopefully you see how I'm going through here. And again, I'm being very persnickety because you jumped miles and miles ahead of where this was yesterday morning, I should say, right? Because as of yesterday afternoon, it looked like this, and I think this is brilliant. Okay, good. I'm going to give you just a second if you have any comments. Yeah, right? Wow, so great, Susan, so great. Still struggle with the rise and fall. Okay. Yeah, but you know what? You are absolutely on the right path. And again, a little bit of that, I mean, I'm almost being militant on you. But again, by getting in there early and making sure you see that pattern while you do this extra step you're doing, then they'll kind of merge together and it'll be easier in the long run. Okay, great, Susan. Good job. And again, she's in the Met said, you know, I don't think she did a lot more of this, but she spent 3 or 4 hours mixing paint and putting, you know, especially at first, it seems painstakingly slow. But when you're learning anything that's complex, it's kind of like that. But if you'll take it painfully slow and get the process right, and the steps and your considerations right, what will happen is that process will start collapsing into just a boom, 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 a little bit of a flow. But you want to be flowing in the right direction, right? Down off the property. Don't be flowing if you're water into the house. So that's why I like to take it slow, and let's take this path. Okay, you got to be careful here, be careful here, be careful here. Okay, yeah. All right, now hit it. And then you're just off and running. All right, so Susan says, thank you. And is the highlight too much? So on the cheek, maybe. Yeah. what you might, again, this is, if this paint is still wet, what you could do, or you could wait for it to dry, is you could take your palette knife and either slightly scrape that, or you know what might be better, Susan? If this paint is still a little bit tacky, maybe what you need to go through is go in with a sharpened stick. Right? So you just want something that you can get pretty small. And kind of break it up just a little bit. Does that make sense? I'm doing a little fence building here, so don't do fence building. Now, it doesn't look, what I'm doing is showing you if I had the stick in my hand, what I might do, or even scratch back and forth on some of these edges. And then that'll soften that a little bit. And then in here, so the eyeball's not hard like metal, but it is wet. So for that reason, you might want to make this highlight like a little sharper, at least on one edge, and let it trail off a bit. And by leaving that hard edge right here, and then taking the hard edges mostly out of all of those, what we'll do is that'll really draw us into the eye, right? That hard edge will help separate the eye highlight from the skin highlight. And I think that would be effective. And the other thing that would do is, let's get back to neutral here. The other thing that would do is it's going to lessen the impact of that, but we have all this color, right? Lessen the impact of that a little bit, but you still have this color. And then in here, you'll have that sharp highlight edge with some color as well. Darker, richer color to be sure. You handled that quite well, by the way. For those of you who don't know, the color here is transparency. So that's warmer and will, quote unquote, not have any white in it. Whereas this color here is lit up by light hitting it. So it's got more white in it. And that relationship between that color with white and without white is very important. Now back to my point, what I was saying is, what I want you to do as you do that, take that away a little bit, right? I might even take a little bit of this away. Why? Because it's turning around and it's turning under. So the ball here is going to go back into gray, and then that highlight will come down the corner. Okay, and that's what will separate the highlight, will separate this gray from that gray. Okay, another little side note. Sorry guys, there's just a little bit to this. And she's off and running, so I want to make sure to give her what's next. What's next? So we've got those notes. And then again, if this highlight's a little sharper and your color and stuff's there on the eyelid, and some of that is taken away, then this is going to be a really nice grouping of notes. And this should be a little more as far as attention goes. And then, and I don't think you would be opposed to this, and this might even be what you're wanting. What happens when we really make contact with anybody or anything? Eye contact. Yeah. Yeah. There's a connect, right? This is where we connect. If we stare here, right, we can see beauty and all of that, but that's not how we connect to people, by staring at their cheeks. The connection comes from from the direct eye contact. Okay, so that little bit, that kind of psychological, conceptual bit, if you put and include that in with all this wonderful stuff you have, boom, I mean, the work just, the impact of the work is just so much stronger. Okay? Very, very, very good. Let's see. You guys are all superstars. Susan is doing great, but all of you guys are doing so good. So yeah, I'm so happy with you guys encouraging each other. Try it. Wonderful, Susan. Wonderful. Looking great. Looking great. Yes, I figured. And you know, that's what happens is by diagnosing and analyzing so deeply these paintings, what we're able to do is get more deeper into our concept and what we really want to say. And as we get clearer on that, the better the painting is. The better the painting. Hey, Claudia, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, I think so too. Susan looking so good. Yeah, great fun to share. All right, so let's have one more look at this before I mucked it up here. And let's go back to a before and after. Because again, it takes a long time to say some of these things. But with the things we were able to say, I don't know if it took me a half hour or 45 minutes yesterday. But look at the difference. Again, she wasn't happy. She felt like the skin looked plastic. It didn't look real. There didn't look like there was much hair. Right? And then from our talk yesterday, again, if you're entertained, great. But if you'll actually sit down after our talk and try to execute some of it, bang. Now, you don't always drill it home. Like, you know, she got it, you know, especially first time out of the gate. But this is where the improvement happens, right? Just hearing it is okay. I'm glad you like to hear it, and I'm glad you like to hear it from me. But the real improvement will come from the work, the practice. Great, great, great. All right, Susan, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. We're all behind you. We're all behind you. Right? We want to encourage, support, inspire, motivate, and educate. Right? Not educate as much as just grow the awareness. Growing the awareness. All right. Oh yeah, this was, I think Claudia just saw the difference there. What a wonderful difference, right? Wonderful, wonderful. Good job. Good job. And I think Sue here is on the right track too. She may be watching and unable to type. I'm not sure, but Sue, I think you're really on the right track here. I do see a few little things that we might look for. And like Susan with her dog painting, after going so deep into the painting and then, okay, let's take it step by step one more time and make these adjustments at the appropriate time, that's when you'll see the painting come to a finish. Come to a finish, or be brought up to a finish, however we want to say it. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the idea here is the legacy of one generation to the next generation, and then what they're looking up at here and making a connection through is, I'm hoping I'm getting these terms right, the petroglyphs, right? But the basically the book of the ancestors. And I hope I'm getting that right. If I get it a little bit wrong, Sue, again, this is your painting, so those things I get wrong, maybe as you go, well, no, that's not really what I want to do, will help bring you clarity. When you have the clarity of thought of exactly what you want to express, then it's just a matter of, okay, what visual principles best help me do that? Okay, so I cannot come up with the concepts for you guys, but what I can do is help discuss visual principles that will enhance one concept or diminish one concept and bring another concept forward, or how if we do it this way, it'd be this concept, and if we did it that way, it's that concept. I believe the connection between the concept and the visual understanding of how to do that most effectively may be one of the biggest things missing in the arts education that I'm aware of. Now, I'm not up on everything, and I don't believe in that being the final level of the education. I believe that we have to do that from the beginning, right? Practice that from the beginning. Yeah, so Janice is loving the arm around the younger one. Yeah, and there's a couple of things that I like about that as well. All right, so were we clear? Oh, goodness. All right, so let's open a layer. I got too excited. Didn't prepare the digital pad. There we go. So again, it's about the transmission of generational knowledge from elder to younger through the clues, the books, the stories, the meanings of the ancestors. Okay? So, with that concept, this negative shape here to me is so important, right? As is that right there. Wait, what? Wait, what? Can you guys understand why that's important in relation to this concept? What does that shape say? Right? Are there two things that just merged into a single thing? Nope. Are there two things that are separated and are not connected? No. But it's a combination of both. You have the separation and the connection. If we lose this shape, some of that is lost. If we lose this shape, that is lost. If we lose both of those shapes, that entire concept is lost. Yeah. Sue, I love the change in this composition. I really feel the connection between the people and the past. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's why, you know, I have to admit, it's not easy really giving honest critiques, because sometimes it can really deflate people. And that's not what it's about. Right? But if you think of an author who writes a book, you know, I'm thinking nonfiction or something that's making it up. But whether it's nonfiction or not, they don't sit down and write it out and then publish it. It's worked and reworked and reworked and reworked and reworked. Oh. So, yeah, I'm so glad that you're catching on to those things. How these things... right, the idea and the painting and how we put them together. But just because we're painting an idea, in my opinion, if this is art, an idea cannot substitute for beauty. right? That's a division. And art is about connection. It's about harmony, right? It's real easy to chop things in half, to tear things apart, to blow things up. But we want to keep things together as things develop, right? So we're not putting them in prison cells and all line them up, but we want everything to, but as it develops, we want it to develop in harmony. It's what nature does, right? That's beauty. So that's what we're looking for here. Okay, so we have this. So I think you're right on that shape. If this is the shape here, and I don't know if it is or not, but I'm not so sure this is working. And let me share what I see. And again, there may be part of your concept in here that I don't know about or that we have to do. But one of the things are that is very aggressive, right? It's very aggressive and almost like the torture they used to do drawing and quartering people, right? Where they would tie an arm, each arm and each leg to a different horse and then send them running off in different directions. I know that's brutal and an image you probably didn't want to hear this morning. But again, if it kind of shocked your conscience a little bit, what you're going to do is you're going to remember that. Right? And you're going to remember that's not the effect I want. That's not the effect I want. Right? So I think that shape is a dividing shape. Now there's ways, if this shape is important, that we can keep the shape, right, without focusing them here. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And I know it's not easy, but this is also feeling kind of like an equilateral triangle in a way. And I know it's not. But we want, I think, bigger changes on these. And this, that a diagonal like this is extremely, extremely, extremely active. And generally, you're only going to find an angle like that up front. So, to me, I find that disturbing. So, I see, and you might have had some of like that. So how different is that from that? See, I'm sorry if I'm working too small. Does that make sense up there? Let's do that again. So one of the things I was concerned about was kind of the steepness and aggressiveness. I mean, that's a spear. That's ready for war, for killing, for slicing. Right? And, or if we didn't focus on the edges, or if there was focus on the edges, all right, you see the difference between that and that. Okay. What are we doing here? Okay. So, and again, you know, I go over this to show you and make sure you understand. But the other part of that is I'm going over this to understand the problem. Right? Because the deeper I understand the situation or what's causing the problem, the easier and more beautiful of a solution I can come up with. Right? So I don't stand around and do this over and over and keep pointing it out, to drive it home. Bad, 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 bad. No. But I keep going over it and kind of bathing myself in it. By saying what I do not want. By understanding what's happening. Right? And understanding I don't want that to happen. What it forces me to do is go, okay, smarty pants, so what do you want to happen? And again, it's the clarity on that is going to make the difference. So you may already have something in mind. The other thing I would strongly consider is taking out all the sky here. And the reason why I would do that is any sky there is going to weaken the impact of this. Because we always want to go see what's next. So what you could do, or one possible solution, would to be make this mountaintop go up here, right? Or even over like that, and just have very little sky, right? I don't know that we want them completely trapped in by a wall of rock. But again, the purpose is to let us, right? This is important. There's a lot being said here. There's a lot of wisdom here. There's a lot of time here. Right? We don't want to fly through this like we'd fly through a gas station or something. So in order to increase the time the viewer spends here, we're going to decrease anything, i.e. sky, that could call their name. Right? If you're trying to have a real heart-to-heart with your son or daughter, right? You're trying to have a little heart-to-heart with your son, daughter, and their neighbor friend rings the doorbell. And then their best friend calls, right? 7 of their friends are texting them. That connection's not going to be very strong. But if you're able to take them somewhere where there is no distractions, where there is some time and space, you're not forbidding her from ever seeing or talking to her friends or her neighbors, or, No, that's not it. All of that stuff is still there. But just for right now, let's sit here a while and process this. Okay, so again, I can just say don't put that much sky in there. But that doesn't really help you, or, why want sky, boom, boom, boom. But how is having this sky in here affecting your concept? And so if I'm able to kind of transmit or bring your awareness to that, then I'm giving you the power, right? And creativity can be scary. Because if you have the power, what if it doesn't turn out? Right? And the answer is, if you have the power and it doesn't turn out, it's a stupid piece of cotton. Shake it off, get another piece of cotton, and let's go. Quit crying over spilled milk. Right? And if you really want something beautiful, meaningful, thoughtful, then it's going to take a composition study or two. It's going to take a color study or two. It may take a painting or two to get really clear about what you're trying to say. What are the best colors that express this? What are the best shapes that express it? These edges, they're distracting to what I'm trying to say. When you own that power, when you're not afraid of a bad painting, that's when you start becoming a better artist. Not the minute you finish a good painting, but the second you start a good practice. I do appreciate you saying that, because honestly, some of this stuff comes out of my mouth and I think, oh my God, you sound like a nut. But with all of that being said, one of the things that did bother me a little bit at this stage about it, Sue, is this and this, the relative same sizeness of them. Okay. Let's see. Right on. Oh, Sue said it's helping a lot. Great, 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 great. That's what this is about. Sue said I need to near to far in the back mount. Yeah, and she'll do that. Do it. She loves. Right on. I'm glad, because I am. I'm not. I'm never trying to tear anybody down. This is all about, growing all of our vision, growing the beauty in our world. At least for me. And I think the way I can help grow that beauty is, one, by producing paintings and drawings, but two, by developing other people and helping other people develop their beauty. Not my beauty, but their beauty. So what if that petroglyph and this is something that would take some time and thought, because I could, one, see this just being huge here. Right? And that would be something, bigger than these guys together. That would say something. But, I could also see it being a little smaller to show them reaching through so much time and distance. Right? And as I think about this, and again, it takes as long as it takes to figure it out. Sometimes it comes right away, sometimes it doesn't. As I think about that shape, the idea of it being a little smaller to me is going to say a longer lineage. Right? Because one way we can think about this is the distance. Oh, dang it. All right. Let's see if I can. I think I open new layers and then I back up over them. Again, nothing we can't fix. All right, here we go. So one way to contemplate that would be, okay, if this is the distance between these two, then what would be the distance to all of them? Again, something to think about it. And it really does have to come from you, because only you know what exactly you're trying to say and what you prefer. All right. So some people's, I'm all right with nutty. I'm all right being with crazy. It's obvious I'm not going to just fit in. Wondering if a cave would work with the petroglyphs. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Again, that's all these ideas are things that Sue will have to think about. Sue will have to think about. Yeah, now we're getting really in over our head, but I don't want to even bring it up. But the thing is the longer you spend with this, the crazier it can get. Like, this may be completely off base here, but something else that just jumped into my mind. What if this was a night with a full moon? And again, that moon's way too big. With a full moon illuminating the right. Again, a completely different painting than daylight. Right. Again, we can go on and on. Would there be a huge cast shadow up here covering them, making them into a silhouette? Right? If the light's shining down this way, right? If that's facing them, and if this is catching the light, boom, that would be one thing. She's already indicated here some light, and I'm assuming this is purposeful, but look what she's lit up versus what she hasn't, right? She's made that into a silhouette, and it looks like she scraped the background out for that silhouette effect. And here we're thinking light and shadow. So I see the indications of everything you're thinking about, and it's right. And the only reason I bring these other things up is they're just simply possible solutions. But we want to sift through these for the best one. Yeah, and I don't know if I have anything else to say at this. I do want, let's see. Oh, I do want reflected light on them so they would be silhouettes. Oh, see right there. That's almost the solution I was looking for. Right? If they're in with these cliffs that are orange, red, right? All that warmth. And if they're silhouetted in a shadow, and if there's a wall over here somewhere, it can even be out of frame. But if there's a wall catching all that sunlight, well, what happens? Well, it bounces off. It bounces off, and so you could absolutely have that warm reflected light there. And I think that to me sounds like a beautiful solution that you've come up with there. Beautiful solution. Yeah. So I think going forward, Sue, the main things is think about the size of this relative to the size of this, right? And make sure that they're different, right? And again, just pure abstract, like on how much square inch does this cover? How many square inches does this cover? And how many square inches does this cover? There is no need to get a ruler and measure it out. Just eyeball it, right? How is that? Boom. Or, the other thing about keeping them a little bit equal, that's saying something too. The importance of the past and the present. Again, just one of 10 million possibilities. 10 million possibilities. So, the relative size of these guys, I would strongly consider removing a good portion of the sky. And probably I wouldn't let any of the sky show over here, just because that will be too strong. And not saying there's not ways to do it, but that would be a bigger challenge. Whereas if we have this little strong, and then just that little bit of pull keeps us kind of from going over the waterfall, right? Nobody wants to go over well, not a big waterfall anyway. I guess if it's a small little waterfall, some people might enjoy it. But yeah, just something like that. All right. Okay. All right, guys. I hope everybody's fired up. Sue, I'll give you one more minute if you have any things, but those are some pretty big suggestions there, and I think just by working on those, that'll take this miles ahead. Okay. Sue has a long history and is quite knowledgeable about petroglyphs and all of this. So, this is very important to her. Right? If this was just some afternoon sketching that was just for the sake of sketching, there would be no reason for us to talk like this and go on and on and on and on. But the reason to talk and go on like this is to get clarity of thought. Okay, what are the things we should be thinking about when we're thinking about a painting? Right? It's not, oh, I like that color. No. There's so much more. There's so much more. All right. Sue says, thank you so much. You're welcome. Cindy is translating for Sue. So, thank you, Cindy. Thank you. All right, everybody. With that, I think you guys are doing a great job. Everything we saw today looks fantastic. I'm so happy so many of you guys are coming along on this little journey. And so a reminder for the rest of the day, 1:30 I'll be working on the composition for our next class. There'll be two to choose from, a still life and a sunrise landscape. So no matter your level of your interest, I hope there's something you'll find there. And then we'll go back to Masterworks tonight. Okay, and then 3 classes tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it so much. Have a great day. Go get them. Go be beautiful. You guys got this. All right, love you guys. Get to work.